Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. This quote from poet Mary Oliver shapes and forms how she saw life. And I was thinking recently, I wonder how often we go through life and we miss the things that are happening around us that are worth paying attention to, things that should cause us to be astonished, and things that are worthy of us telling other people about it. I was traveling cross country in the past few months, and I got stuck in an airport where there was a layover. And unfortunately for me and for everyone else, there were significant delays on everyone's connections. We had an airport full of people who were sitting around and were tired and were just ready to move on and to get to their destination. And in this context, I was sitting at the gate for my plane, which was still hours away from taking off. And I noticed sitting not too far away from me was a young mother who had a toddler daughter. And her daughter got down off of her mom's lap and started running across the hard ground of the airport, tripped, and fell on her face, hitting her head, slamming it into the concrete ground. Of course, the daughter got up and was crying and screaming. The mother went over and picked her daughter up, sat her on her lap, and was trying to console her. But it was in this context that you have this screaming toddler who's obviously in pain, weary travelers all around the terminal having to hear and to deal with the screams and the cries of this baby, the mother trying to comfort her daughter, but being unsuccessful. And then ultimately, as I looked across, I saw this mom and her eyes welled up and the tears started coming out of her eyes. And I remember thinking, I wish that I could go over to her and say something that would be comforting or encouraging, but that's just not where my skill set is and not something that I'm particularly good at. But as I'm thinking about this young lady gets up who's sitting on the ground over by the window. There weren't enough seats for everyone. And she gets up off the ground and she goes walking across about 20 feet and gently puts her arm around this mom and offers some words of encouragement. And then she kneels down and she starts talking to the young daughter. And somehow, whatever it is that she said, whatever she did, brought comfort to this little girl, and she stopped crying. And in fact, she even smiled a little bit. The whole interaction was probably 2 or 3 minutes. And this young lady, who, for reasons that will become apparent, I started to think of as Mary Poppins, she gets up and she walks back to her place by the window and then sits back down on the ground. Well, this young mother, she ultimately lets her daughter get down off of her lap and start walking around again. And the little girl walks across the way and goes directly towards Mary Poppins. And she walks right up to the young lady and she sits down next to her. Well, this is why I referred to her as Mary Poppins. She immediately reaches into her backpack that she had with her, and she pulls out a coloring book and crayons and stickers and lays them all in front of the little girl, who starts playing and just is as happy as could be. And the mom gets up and walks over and sits down with them, and they're all sitting by the window. And now I'm watching the mom, and the tears really start to come now, and she really starts crying. But this time she's crying not over having given up on the whole situation and not being able to comfort her daughter, but she's crying as a response to the kindness of a stranger, to the kindness and the goodness of this young lady who reached out and was offering comfort and care to her daughter when she didn't know how to address the situation. And so the three of them sit there, and the little girl could not be happier. But the mom, again, is crying at this point, and another woman gets up and goes over and brings her tissues, and when those tissues run out, another woman comes up, and then another young lady comes and sits with them, and there's this whole group of people now sitting in the midst of this crowded airport where everyone is tired and worn out. And what was just an awful situation with this little girl who had been hurt and had taken the fall, and a mom who didn't know how to comfort her, now they're just all sitting around enjoying coloring books and stickers and encouraging each other. And it's actually just a beautiful scene. One of those things that just happens in everyday life, but is really a sign of what life looks like when human beings genuinely care for each other. As we come here to the end of the year and we're coming into this holiday season, I was just reminded that this is what Action Property Management is about. We want to be a company that genuinely cares for other people. We want to be a group of people who aren't afraid to even say that we love other humans, that we love other people, and that we want to serve and to care and to walk alongside people in every situation of life. And I think those kinds of things come up and are happening all around us in the course of everything that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. And maybe we miss when those kinds of things are happening around us. Maybe we would all be a little bit better off if we would pay attention and be astonished and tell other people about those kinds of things, because it's a reminder and an encouragement to each of us to care about other people and to walk alongside other people and to live this life in such a way that we could be an encouragement to other people. So as we come to the end of this year, just know that while we may do it imperfectly, that's the heartbeat of who we are as a company. And I just want to encourage you during this holiday time that you would give some consideration to how you might be able to care for the people around you, even complete strangers. And pay attention when you see other people doing that. Be a little bit astonished when you see it, and then tell others to be an encouragement as well. We wish you the best in this coming new year.